Before Amazon, before the internet, before you could buy anything in the world without leaving your couch, Americans had a cathedral. They called it the mall. It was 1956 in a quiet suburb of Minneapolis when a man named Victor Gruen changed America forever. Gruen was an Austrian architect who had fled Nazi Europe with nothing but a sketchbook and a vision. He dreamed of bringing the vibrant town squares of Vienna, the music, the fountains, the human connection, to the wide, car-dependent streets of suburban America. On October 8, 1956, he opened Southdale Center in Edina, Minnesota. The first fully enclosed, climate-controlled shopping mall in the United States. Outside it was 30 degrees. Inside it was 70. Fountains sparkled. Trees grew under a glass sky. Nearly 75,000 people walked through its doors on opening day, not just to shop, but to experience something they had never seen before. Time magazine called it a pleasure dome with parking. They weren't wrong. Through the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, the American mall exploded. By 1975, there were over 16,000 shopping centers across the United States. By 1992, Americans had more shopping mall square footage per person than any other nation on Earth, by a landslide. But the mall was never just about shopping, it was a place. Saturday morning meant one thing to an American teenager in 1983. The mall. You'd convince your parents to drop you off by 10 a.m. You had maybe $8 in your pocket, hard-earned from mowing lawns or babysitting, and the entire day stretched out before you like a gift. You'd hit the arcade first. Quarters lined up on the machine for Street Fighter or Pac-Man, the beeps and bloops echoing off the tiled floors. You weren't just playing a game, you were competing, you were somebody. Then came Orange Julius, that frothy, sweet orange drink that somehow tasted like the future. A Cinnabon, a slice from Sparrow, a visit to Sam Goody to flip through cassette tapes you couldn't afford but memorized the covers of anyway. The mall was where American teenagers grew up. At the heart of every great mall were the anchor stores, Sears, JCPenney, Montgomery Ward, Macy's. These weren't just stores, they were institutions. Entire families orbited around them. Mother in housewares, father in tools, kids dragged through back-to-school clothes they hated but wore anyway. The Sears catalog had been the original American dream machine, ordering straight to your doorstep since 1888. But the Sears store was where you came to see it, to touch it, to believe it was real. At Christmas, department store Santas sat on velvet thrones while children lined up around the block. The magic wasn't just merchandise. It was spectacle. It was theater. And for decades, Americans bought their ticket every single weekend. But Victor Gruen, the man who built the first mall, had begun to have regrets. By the 1970s, he watched his creation metastasize, soulless, sprawling, stripped of the community spirit he had intended. Malls had become machines for selling, not places for living. He publicly disowned what the American retail industry had done with his idea. He was right to worry. In 1994, a website called Amazon opened its virtual doors. In 2007, the iPhone put a shopping center in every American pocket. And slowly, then all at once, the mall began to die. Anchor stores collapsed. Sears filed for bankruptcy in 2018 after 132 years. Toys R Us shuttered, Radio Shack vanished, the food courts went quiet. The fountains were turned off. The teenagers found somewhere else to be. By 2022, analysts estimated that nearly 25% of American malls were dying or already dead. Hollow structures called dead malls, their empty corridors now viral on YouTube, haunting and beautiful in their silence. The American shopping mall was never just a building, it was a mirror. It reflected who we were, optimistic, prosperous, hungry for connection, desperate for somewhere to be together in a world that was always sprawling further apart. It rose because Americans needed it, and it fell because the world found a faster, lonelier way to want things. But for one generation, maybe two, Saturday belonged to the mall. And nothing will ever quite replace the feeling of those automatic doors sliding open, the air conditioning hitting your face, and an entire world of possibility stretching out before you.